There are a number of reasons why watching porn causes a person to have erectile dysfunction. And when I use the term erectile dysfunction, I mean that the person is unable to get an erection while being intimate with a real person. This is quite damaging to the self-image of the person that you are being intimate with, and damaging to your own confidence as a man, knowing that you cannot satisfy the needs of your spouse. The first reason why porn causes an erectile dysfunction is simply due to the fact that it is significantly more stimulating than real life intimacy. Think about what an average porn session might look like. You're browsing through dozens of naked women, different shapes, different sizes, doing absolutely whatever you can think of. This releases an absurd amount of dopamine into your brain and causes you to get desensitized to the lower dopamine release of real life intimacy. The second reason that contributes to erectile dysfunction is the fact that most people, when they are viewing porn, they are masturbating to it, usually with a firm grip. What this does is once again desensitizes your genitals to all forms of softer touch. The third reason why you might experience erectile dysfunction is due to having developed fetishes. Years of watching porn and pursuing strange and novel experiences has led you to develop fetishes. Now your brain has been rewired to only associate those strange sexual acts with pleasure. All other forms of intimacy are no longer that exciting to your brain. The good news is that you can fully recover from a porn-induced erectile dysfunction. Your brain has the ability to rewire itself, and this is known as neuroplasticity. With the right protocols, you can bring your back to its default settings and heal your erectile dysfunction. The answer to this question entirely depends on how bad the damage is. If you have been watching porn for decades and you've been using it multiple times a day, then obviously it is going to take a bit longer to recover. Additionally, if you strictly adhere to these protocols that I am going to describe to you, then your recovery is going to accelerate significantly. Lastly, your time to recovery strongly depends on how many relapses you have. If you are still relapsing every day or every week, then recovery is going to take far longer. But let's say you're strictly adhering to all the protocols that I described and you have a good system in place that prevents you from relapsing, then I would say that most people can make a full recovery somewhere between 1 to 6 months. This part of the protocol is going to sound very cliche, yet it is something that plays a critical role in your recovery. There are 3 core pillars to your health: your sleep, your diet, and exercise. Each of these things significantly impact your brain and its ability to rewire itself. If you are someone who has terrible sleep hygiene, you go to bed at random times, you don't get adequate hours of sleep, you view bright lights from your cell phone or laptop right before bed, you don't get enough sunlight during the day, you have stimulants like coffee or energy drinks close to bedtime, then guess what? Your sleep quality is going to be quite terrible, and as a result, your recovery is going to be rather slow. Additionally, poor sleep quality can also put you at risk of relapsing, because sleep has shown to play a significant role when it comes to impulse control. And if your impulse control is compromised due to poor sleep, then you're putting yourself in a pretty vulnerable position. If you are someone who's really looking to optimize their sleep, I would highly recommend that you watch one of Andrew Huberman's podcasts on sleep optimization. It covers all things that you need to know in order to have high quality sleep. Things like what time to eat, what time to view sunlight, how long to view sunlight, what kind of light, what time to avoid bright lights, etc. Recovery happens when your brain stops receiving hyperstimulation, and in the absence of hyperstimulation, it begins to recalibrate itself. One of the ways that it does so is by improving the sensitivity and the number of its dopamine receptors to now accommodate for the fact that there is no longer that flood of dopamine coming in from pornography. However, if you are someone that consumes a lot of processed food, things like chocolates, burgers, soda, chips, then you might be greatly slowing down your recovery. That's because you are once again flooding your brain with dopamine, and now it doesn't get the chance to recalibrate itself. You don't want to just quit one addiction and replace it with another addiction. You want to give your brain a window during which it is not being bombarded with hyperstimulation. Additionally, another property of having fast food is that it generates cravings for instant pleasure. You might have noticed this. Each time you consume something that is highly processed, like a chocolate cake, then your cravings for lust just skyrocket. And this puts you in quite a vulnerable position and could potentially lead to a relapse. What I would recommend is that you really focus on cleaning out your diet. remove all processed food from it, and replace it with whole, natural, single ingredient food. Things like meat, eggs, honey, fruit, dates, vegetables, etc. These are quality ingredients that assist in healing your brain rather than help destroy it. Exercise is not just about shaping muscles, losing weight, or improving athletic performance. When you exercise and really get that sweat going, then your brain is soaked in a cocktail of neurochemicals that are just so nourishing for it. Here are some of them and what they actually do for you. First, you have endorphins. They are your natural opioids. They promote mood enhancement and pain relief. Then there's dopamine. This neurotransmitter is crucial for reward, motivation, and pleasure. Exercise increases dopamine levels, which help boost motivation, improve mood, and support brain function. The third neurochemical is serotonin, and this is often targeted by antidepressants. Serotonin levels are elevated through physical activity, supporting improved mood, reduction of anxiety, and emotional regulation. Then there is norepinephrine. Physical activity increases this neurochemical, which is involved in body's stress response and helps the brain manage stress more efficiently. Lastly, there is BDNF, which stands for Brain-Derived Neurotrophic Factor. Exercise triggers the release of BDNF, which is a protein that promotes brain neuroplasticity. It supports neuron growth and is associated with improved cognitive function and resilience to depression. So exercise is not only going to help your brain rewire faster and heal your erectile dysfunction, but it is also going to fill the void that was left behind, and it is absolutely essential to fill this void with healthy sources of dopamine. Once you are no longer relapsing and you have your 3 core pillars of health fixed, your diet is good, your sleep is good, and you're working out consistently, then you're on your way to recover successfully from erectile dysfunction. It may take a couple of months, so just stick to your healthy habits and trust the process. One way that you can get some sort of a hint that your erectile dysfunction has been cured is the fact that you will start getting morning wood. And you will get frequent erections even at times when you're not looking at something sexually arousing. So don't try to see if your erectile dysfunction is cured by looking at porn or hypersexualized image. I've seen people try this time and time again, and it just ends up in relapsing and undoing your progress. I am now going to tell you about 2 tools that, in my opinion, will significantly speed up your recovery. It might take you half or even a third of the time to recover if you incorporate these tools in your life. The first tool is fasting. Going without food for a duration of time has shown to significantly boost neuroplasticity, and this allows your brain to recover much faster. The reason why fasting is so effective is because when you voluntarily deprive your body of food, then it switches its source of energy and it starts using fat as fuel. When this energy switch happens, your body gets the message that there is a scarcity of resources, and this causes it to start cleaning itself and burning dysfunctional cells as a source of energy. This process is known as autophagy, and fasting plays a key role in promoting it. Additionally, fasting promotes something called neurogenesis, which is the creation of new neurons. And this combination of autophagy and neurogenesis is vital for rewiring your brain. And with fasting, you can accelerate both of these mechanisms. Now, fasting is a great tool, but you can't fast forever, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Or perhaps you're someone who is on the skinny side of things, or perhaps you're someone who really cares about his performance in the gym, or there could be a number of other reasons why you're not looking forward to the idea of fasting. However, you can still get the benefits of fasting, the autophagy and the neurogenesis, by following something called the fasting mimicking diet. One of these diets is called a ketogenic diet. You might have come across it in passing. It seems to have really picked up some steam in communities that are centered around weight loss. But it is also a fantastic tool when it comes to getting the benefits of fasting without actually fasting. To put it simply, a ketogenic diet is when you consume very little amount of carbs, typically somewhere between 20 to 40 grams, and mainly consume fats and proteins. Now, some of you are probably skeptical about the effectiveness of intermittent fasting and the ketogenic diet, especially when it comes to overcoming porn addiction. And to be fair, there hasn't been a relevant study on the impact of ketogenic diet or intermittent fasting on porn addiction. However, there are studies that have shown that the ketogenic diet has a positive impact on substance use disorders. There are studies that show that the ketogenic diet helps reduce symptoms of alcohol withdrawal And lastly, there is a study that shows how the ketogenic diet also reduces cravings for alcohol. So granted that none of these things are actually porn, however, these substances behave very similar to porn, meaning they release large amounts of dopamine and are potentially addictive. It is my hypothesis, based on my experience working with dozens of porn addicts, that the ketogenic diet could be a potential tool that helps rewire the brain from porn addiction and reduce cravings for porn. Hey, my name is Jibreal Khan, and I've helped dozens of men overcome porn addiction using tried and tested systems based on neuroscience and behavioral psychology. The best part is that these systems do not rely on willpower, which is a fleeting resource and it is bound to fade away in the long run. Some of the people that I work with have been addicted to pornography for as long as 20 years and could barely go a week without porn. So if you would like to work one-on-one with me to overcome porn addiction, then make sure that you click on the link in the description and book a call with me. This call can be completely anonymous if you prefer.